Hello everyone, Briarheart filling in for MSA again, and today I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite video games of all time, Shovel Knight. If you've never heard of this game, you may be asking yourself, what is Shovel Knight? Well, here's a bit of background on the game. Basically, Shovel Knight was a Kickstarter project created by Yacht Club Games, an indie video game company founded by former WayForward Technologies director Sean Velasco, for a nostalgic game that looked, played, sounded, and felt like an old NES game. Yacht Club's Kickstarter campaign was a huge success, and the game we know as Shovel Knight was completed and made available to the public in 2014. It was also announced that there would be 4 DLC campaigns for the game, and about a year later, Yacht Club came out with the first DLC campaign called Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows. Plague of Shadows follows one of the boss characters from the main campaign named Plague Knight, in an alternate adventure that takes place at the same time as the main campaign. The second campaign, which was released a few months ago, is called Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment, which is a prequel to the main campaign starring Spectre Knight. At the same time Spectre Knight of Torment was released, there were changes to the actual game itself. Shovel Knight became Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, as all the campaigns were made available to be bought without having the main campaign. Treasure Trove collects all 4 campaigns in one. The update also gave the main Shovel Knight campaign a new name in the form of Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope. Good. Now that we've got the history out of the way, we can jump into the key factors that make this game so great. Design, gameplay, and music. The design of this game is perfect. The colors used in this game aren't quite the same as the ones used in the NES color palette, but that doesn't matter, as this game is visually stunning. It feels epic and large, even though compared to newer games it is actually quite short. But it doesn't feel that way. There are secret rooms, challenges, collectibles, and oh so many things to do in this game, especially with the DLCs. Its replay value is also great too, as each time you beat the game you can start over and make it harder for yourself with less checkpoints and less health restoration items. However, you can also increase the difficulty factor without beating the game by destroying checkpoints as you go through the levels. The DLCs have brilliant level designs too, my least favorite probably being Plague Knight's DLC, as it's pretty much the same as Shovel Knight's with a couple of new pitfalls added. Spectre Knight's, however, is completely redesigned, and it's just as stunning, if not more stunning, than the Shovel Knight's campaign. This game is challenging to play, there's no doubt about it. It can be fun, but it can also be frustrating. It's definitely a satisfying experience, though. So, where to start? The controls. The controls are smooth and fluent. The stiffness you may find in other games isn't here. Though Plague Knight's controls are a bit stiffer than the other two, they're not as stiff as other games' controls. This allows for a relaxing experience once you've mastered a level. None of the deaths in this game feel unfair either. You die a lot, and I mean a lot.
You touch the top of the building, you die. You touch the ceiling, you die. You touch the floor, you die. Too far to the right, you die. Too far to the left, you die. You die, you die, you die, 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 die.
but it's always because you messed up. Though it can be frustrating when you mess up. Trust me, I've yelled at the screen playing this game before. It's not the kind of frustrating that makes you want to turn off the game. It's the kind of frustrating that makes you want to keep going and going, just so you can beat that boss's butt for putting you through all this pain. And trust me, when you beat that boss, it's more satisfying than any other game I've played through. Which, what is a game if it isn't challenging? Shovel Knight plays a lot like Scrooge McDuck from the DuckTales video game. Plague Knight, well, I'm not sure what video game character he plays like, but his moves must have been taken from somewhere. And finally, Spectre Knight plays a lot like Mario. Though his attack is a slash attack, one thing you find yourself doing when playing as Spectre Knight is that you have to jump around a lot more than the other two, as well as perform wall jumps. Overall, the gameplay is pretty great. Something that has helped make many classic games enjoyable are their soundtracks. Who could forget Vampire Killer from Castlevania? Or the underground theme from Super Mario. Luckily, just like everything else about this game, Shovel Knight has a perfect soundtrack. I mean, seriously, this soundtrack is killer. It's great. I'll name a couple of tracks and play a few seconds from each of them. This is Strike the Earth. This is an underlying problem. This is One Dark Night. Seriously, what's not to love there? Each piece of music in this game just adds to the already memorable levels and makes them even more memorable. It's probably the best video game soundtrack out there, and I do mean that. In conclusion, Shovel Knight is, if not my favorite game, then it is definitely one of my favorite games. It hits all the right marks and is just a joy to play through. If you don't have it, then I suggest you buy it, as you almost certainly won't regret it. The gameplay is great, the design is great, and the music is outstanding. The levels and characters are burned into my mind. That's how good this game is. My rating? 10 out of 10. Anyway, that's all from me this time. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and while you're at it, if you're a Doctor Who nerd like me, go check out my channel, which MSA always leaves a link to in the description. Bless him. And until next time, this is Briarheart signing off.